My name is Beth Lipman. I'm from Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin. I've always wanted to be an artist since I can remember. It's something I've always done. My grandmother she considered herself a technician, an embroidery technician, but she knitted, and my mother was an artist. So I grew up surrounded by creativity constantly. I'm using glass specifically to discuss this kind of ephemerality and the temporality of time. So I think that the material really warrants being used for that kind of discussion because it's constantly, perpetually alive and available, but very elusive at the same time, especially when it's transparent, when you can see through it.
Hang on. I gotta get. All right, get in there. Oh, too thin. We're gonna have to put this one down. Spin.
All right, in the count.
These happy little and large accidents that you're looking at are, they're actually really invaluable in terms of telling a story, telling a narrative, and they make a perfect low bowl form like this much more meaningful when you pair it with something that would be considered by some as a complete failure. That is so pretty, Gabe.
The piece that I'm working on this week at the Museum of Glass is entitled In Earth, and it's a continuation of an exploration I started with Laid Timetable with cycads from 2 years ago, where I had a 15-foot long table that had a paleo landscape that kind of grew underneath the table and then pierced the table at certain points and shed over a still life of cultural objects, things that would be recognizably human. The team is making very recognizable cultural objects here. I really am interested in employing them in what they do best, which is very tight, controlled Venetian style vessels, or an interpretation of Venetian vessels. So bowls, goblets, chalices, vessels with handles, urns.
The viewer's most likely going to really only encounter 2, possibly 3 of these corner posts that one would find in a system called a lowering device, which is used for lowering coffins or caskets into the ground. So it'll just be a fragment of those lowering devices, not a full functional device. Just enough to trigger someone else's memory. You ready? Yeah? People will only recognize it if they've had the experience of being at a gravesite. And this year I have had the unfortunate honor of being at a gravesite twice. So it's one of the things that I kind of zeroed in on.
The great thing about glass is that it's really a very efficient tool for hooking a discussion with a viewer. It's obviously beautiful, it's spectacular, it draws people in, it's a very visceral experience that a lot of people have to the material. Then you can get beyond that if you so choose, and you can start thinking about the content that's behind what you're looking at.